Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor with the Internal Revenue Service. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about when do you need a tax advocate for IRS tax problems, tax relief, and tax help. I've been doing this for 50 years. I worked at IRS for 10 years. I've been in private practice for 50 years, and I have a whole team of former IRS agents. I've worked about 10,000 cases in my life. I'm a national expert in IRS resolution matters. If you want to see me in a suit and tie, you can go to my website at 777irs.com. You can see all my national news interviews there. I've been on national news, I don't know, 10 times in the last 3 months or something. More important, if you go to 777irs.com, you'll see my team of former IRS agents and tax attorneys. That actually makes my firm very special. They've been all handpicked for me over the last 40 years, actually. So I want to just talk to you today about when do you need a tax advocate and when you don't. You know, most people who watch my videos do this because they've either been ripped off, they've been scammed, or they want to find out information about IRS. And you know, here's the problem. When you do tax resolution like I do, you can't work small cases because at the end of the day, the hours will eat a person alive. And most of the time, if you have a small debt problem and it's under 30 or 40,000, it doesn't pay for you to get someone involved because it's going to cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to do the work because it just takes that long because IRS is just a bureaucratic mess. And you know, when people call for me, I just give them the information and tell them what to do. But if you have a large debt problem and you need an advocate, that's when you really need somebody. It's not so much the smaller cases because at the end of the day, IRS usually puts smaller cases into small payment agreements or currently non-collectible. And your gut should tell you when you need a tax advocate. It really should. You know, people call me and say, Michael, if I get audited, when do I need you, when I don't? Well, if you have the records, it's a small case to represent yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. But here's how you determine when you need it. If you have a pit in your stomach and you feel nervous, that's when you need to get out your checkbook and write. It's just that simple. You know, I don't take all cases. I can't. I wished I could. I can't. I do only take larger cases. And even on larger cases, sometimes I can't help people. The bottom line when you advocate is you want to see the case, you want to see the problem, and you want to know if you can add value to your case. So at our firm, for instance, we don't take cases unless we don't add value. Some people already have a good deal with IRS and they're on a payment plan. We can't do nothing about it. Other people want to do an offer and compromise, but they can't because they have equity in their home. So at the end of the day, they can pay the tax off. They just can't pay it now. So, but when you have an IRS tax problem and the tax problem's out of control and you have assets and you don't know what to do, that's when you need a tax advocate at that point. Otherwise, you really don't need it. You can work through the information yourself. You can Google, IRS and look and help. Here's the two things you have to know. You have to understand if you're looking for a tax advocate and you want to know if you can do it yourself. If you understand the IRS Asset Program and the IRS National Standards Program, you're going to know whether you can do this yourself. Understand this. IRS is really only looking at two things only. They're looking for, do you have the money to pay the tax? Is it put in other assets? Is it put in a business? Do you have an equity? Do you have a pension? You can pay the tax, but you're not going to get an offer. You're going to have to pay it in full. However, if you don't have the money and you don't have the assets and you understand the National Standards Program, which is this, IRS is going to fix you into the number of expenses you can have. You're going to fill out that financial statement. IRS is going to say, we don't allow those. How do you know what those standards are? Go to the IRS National Standards Program. You'll Google IRS National Standards for food and clothing, IRS National Standards for housing and utilities, IRS National Standards for car payments, IRS National Standards for operation of car. IRS will dictate to you what you can spend in those areas. Any money and over that a month, they want it on a monthly basis. So just know this, if you're looking for an advocate to help you, before you reach out, know this, there's 3 programs that people are going to get in if you're within the 10-year statute. Your case after IRS looks at the financial statement is either going to put you into currently non-collectible for a couple years and the case comes out for review, a payment agreement, maybe 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, whatever your financial allows, and then an offer and compromise to settle your debt for pennies on a dollar. But be careful. Don't make a knee-jerk reaction. Give your money to anybody. You have to qualify for that program. So many people call me. They've been ripped off by Optima and these other companies. It's just sickening, sickening, sickening. Make sure you're eligible for the program. IRS is a pre-qualifier tool. The IRS offer and compromise pre-qualifier tool. It's pretty simple. You can Google it. It's not necessarily real accurate. It's accurate enough. But in the meantime, if you want to know if you're eligible for that program, you can send me your financial statement. I'll let you know for free. We do give you free consultations. I don't want you to get ripped off. I'm sick of the Optimas, the tax tigers, and everyone else out there that are taking money by high-pressured salesmen and getting in your back pocket. The only people, by the way, that can represent you are attorneys, CPAs, and enrolled agents. If you're not talking to them, chances are you're talking to a salesman and you're going to get ripped off. Anyway, I gave you what I could about advocacy. Give me a subscription if you would. Why? Because YouTube says we all need subscriptions. I'd appreciate you doing that. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time.